Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, Chapter 9, answers by citing the Lord's version, text 24. Srijami tapasai vedam grasami tapasa punaha vibharmi tapasa vishyam virjam me dushcharam tapaha. Srijami tapasai vedam grasami tapasa punaha bibharmi tapasa vishyam virjam me dustaram tapaha. Srijami tapasai vedam grasami tapasa punaha bibharmi tapasa vishyam virjam me duscharam tapaha. Srijami tapasai vedam grasami tapasa punaha bibharmi tapasa vishyam virjam me duscharam tapaha. Srijami, I create. Tapasa, by the same energy of penance. Eva, certainly. Idam, this. Grasami, tapasa, I do withdraw also by the same energy. Punaha, again. Bibharmi, do maintain. Tapasa, by penance. Visham, the cosmos. Virjam, potency. Me, my. Dushcharam, severe. Tapaha, penance. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. I create this cosmos by such penance, I maintain it by the same energy, and I withdraw it all by the same energy. Therefore, the potential power is penance only. Please repeat after me. I create this cosmos by such penance. I maintain it by the same energy, and I withdraw it all by the same energy. Therefore, the potential power is penance only. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In executing penance, one must be determined to return home back to Godhead and must decide to undergo all types of tribulations for that end. Even for material prosperity, name and fame, one has to undergo severe types of penance. Otherwise, no one can become an important figure in this material world. Why then are there severe types of penance for the perfection of devotional service? An easygoing life and attainment of perfection in transcendental realization cannot go together. The Lord is more clever than any living entity. Therefore, He wants to see how painstaking the devotee is in devotional service. The order is received from the Lord, either directly or through the bona fide spiritual master. And to execute that order, however painstaking, is the severe type of penance. One who follows the principle rigidly is sure to achieve success in attaining the Lord's mercy. Srijami tapasai vedam grasami tapasa punaha bibharmi tapasa vishwam birjam me duscharam tapaha. I create this cosmos by such penance. I maintain it by the same energy, and I withdraw it all by the same energy. Therefore, the potential power is penance only. Oh, আচ্ছা এটা কি ওটা ও আচ্ছা ওকে তো ওটা কোথায় মুছে দিয়েছি লেখে কে কালকে কি শ্লোক হয়েছিল ওটা ভুলে গেছো তুমি ওকে Prattadishta, text 23, I'll just read through. Prattadishtang maya tatra toyi karmo vimohite tapo me hridayam shakshad atmaham taposo nagha. O sinless Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance when you are perplexed in your duty. Such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are non-different. So repeat after me. O sinless Brahma,
O sinless Brahma,
you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance when you are perplexed in your duty. Such penance is my heart and soul. And therefore, penance and I are non-different. So you understood the meaning of this verse? Kartik? You understood? Huh? Did you repeat after me? You did. And then still you didn't understand. Where was your mind? Okay. So who is telling whom? Okay, let's hear what Kartik has to say. Who is speaking here?
Krishna is saying to Brahma.
Very good. Okay. We are very happy with you. Krishna is speaking to Brahma. And what is Krishna telling Brahma? He is telling Brahma that what did he say first to Brahma? What did he tell Brahma? Did he ask Brahma to do something? Okay, where was Brahma sitting at that time? Where was Brahma at that time? Just think. Where was Brahma? He was sitting on something? Huh? Or Brahma was standing or flying? Yeah, so why did it take you so long? Huh? And then where did the lotus come from? Okay, where was that lotus? The lotus, where does lotus bloom? In water. Lotus blooms in water. And where is that water? Where was that lotus? That lotus was in Garbha ocean. Right? You remember now? The lotus was in Garbha ocean. And then Brahma heard something from that water. When the waters, what happened? When the water splashed against each other, what kind of sound came out? Who knows what kind of sound came out? Jamuna, what kind of sound came out? Tapaha. What did the sound? How did the sound sound like? Tapaha. Tapa means what? Tapa means penance. What is the English translation for the word tapa? Sanskrit word tapa means what? Kartik. Tapa means penance. Penance means kashtutthana. Okay? Tapa means penance, austerity. Then what did Brahma do? Brahma performed penance. And by performing penance, what happened? Brahma saw Krishna. Where did Brahma see Krishna? In the spiritual sky. Alright? So now you got the whole knowledge. Okay? Okay. So Krishna, Narayan is telling Brahma, O sinless Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance. O Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance when you are perplexed in your duty. What is the meaning of the word perplexed? Do you know the meaning of the word perplexed? Radhika, do you know? What's the meaning of the word perplexed? Perplexed? Do you know what's the meaning of the word bewildered? Bewildered? Like right now what you are. You are bewildered. When you do not know what to do, that state is called? When you do not know whether you should eat Mahaprasad or not. That state is called perplexed. Alright? Bewildered. So you learned something new today? Yeah? Okay. When you are perplexed, such penance is my heart and soul. And therefore, penance and I are non-different. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, the penance by which one can see the personality of Godhead face to face is to be understood as devotional service to the Lord and nothing else, because only by discharging devotional service in transcendental love can one approach the Lord. Such penance is the internal potency of the Lord and is non-different from Him. Why the penance is non-different from Him? Why the penance is non-different from the Lord? Lakshminath? Why the last sentence, what did I read? Why Krishna is saying that the penance is non-different from Him? Why? Did he say that? That penance is non-different from Him? No? You didn't hear. Or now you are bewildered. Okay, who will say? Why penance is not different from Krishna? Punit?
Because it's equals to the potency
Very good. Because penance is the internal potency of the Lord. And the internal potency of the Lord is devotional service. Therefore, Krishna is saying the penance is his heart and soul. So, what is actually Krishna's heart and soul? The devotional service is Krishna's heart and soul. And it is non-different from him because it is internal potency. Such acts of internal potency are exhibited by non-attachment for material enjoyment. Very good point, very important point. Who understood this point? Okay, Ganganarayan.
This internal potency is not to enjoy this material.
Yeah, right. Such acts of internal potency are exhibited by non-attachment for material enjoyment. When we want to enjoy the material nature, then what it is? Trivikram? When you want to enjoy material nature, then what it is? Then it is material energy, Krishna's external energy. Then when we want to enjoy material nature, where are we? We are in Maya. And that is Krishna's external energy. But when we do not want to enjoy material energy in order to develop a love for Krishna, what is that energy? Sadhana Siddhi? Okay, that's spiritual nature. Very good. The living entities are encaged in the conditions of material bondage. In the conditions of material bondage because of their propensity to overlordship. But by engagement in devotional service of the Lord, one becomes detached from this enjoying spirit. The devotees automatically become detached from worldly enjoyment, and this detachment is the result of perfect knowledge. Therefore, the penance of devotional service includes knowledge and detachment. The penance of devotional service includes what? Knowledge and detachment. So when you perform devotional service, what happens? Do you remain in ignorance? You get knowledge. And do you remain attached to material enjoyment? No. So you become detached. So devotional service has these two natural developments. Therefore it has been described in the scriptures that Bhakti Devi is a woman. Bhakti is a woman. Bhakti personified is a woman. And Bhakti personified has two sons. Those two sons are Jnana and Vairagya. Knowledge and detachment. So when we perform devotional service, we automatically receive knowledge. What knowledge? By practicing devotional service we become PhDs? Now what kind of knowledge do you get? This knowledge is not a stamped knowledge from some educational institution. This knowledge is spiritual knowledge which is revealed in the heart. Therefore, what is the best university to join? ISKCON. You join ISKCON, you'll be a transcendental, you'll become a transcendental scholar. Because the knowledge will automatically be revealed in your heart. Raghav Pandit, what is your comment on that? 100%. If you ask Punit, he'll say 150%. Very good. The devotional service automatically become detached from worldly enjoyment, and the detachment is a result of perfect knowledge. How does it happen? When you become engaged, then you become detached. When you become engaged in devotional service, you become detached. And this detachment is a result of transcendental knowledge. What is that knowledge? What is that knowledge? The knowledge is, the more we try to enjoy in the material nature, more we suffer. So when you realize that when you try to enjoy, actually you suffer, then will you want to enjoy? So you'll say, okay, I don't want to enjoy. It's all going to lead to suffering. Is it clear? I thought I will enjoy by getting some very nice TV, a color TV. I buy the color TV, I thought I'll enjoy, but what happens? The TV doesn't let me sleep at night. Even though I want to go to sleep, the other members of the family, they are watching the TV. And that loud noise wakes me up. And then I think, okay, very nice movie is going on. Or the other, another classic example for enjoyment actually leading to suffering is, what is the classic example of enjoyment leading to suffering? Marriage.
Worry invited forever. Worry invited forever.
Okay. And wise comment from an experienced person. One thinks that he will enjoy. Life will be so happy. But then, okay, another comment.
Yesterday he was telling Jani Dushman.
क्या बोल रहा था?
श्यामला माता जी को बोल रहे थे जानी दुश्मन.
जानी दुश्मन मतलब?
Great दुश्मन.
I'm sure he was not serious. So, that is a very classic example. Because one thinks that he'll enjoy, but when one gets married, then what happens? Then he has to earn money. When he was a brahmachari, he was very happy. He didn't have to worry about anything. He was happy just being in the temple, wearing saffron. But then Maya Devi came and told him how beautiful this material nature is. And then, when he was a brahmachari, he didn't have to worry about money and where he will stay. But now he'll have to find a house. And then, now he'll have to get the money to maintain the family. So anyway, so first there were 2, then it becomes 3, then 4. And the anxiety and distress keeps on increasing. All the householders know that. And if any brahmachari doesn't believe in this truth, then go and ask a honest householder. Maybe sometimes the householders should give classes to brahmacharis and explain to them how wonderful brahmachari life is. So that's the reality of the material nature. You try to enjoy, you suffer. Like in every respect, we can see that. You try to enjoy in the material nature, you suffer. But what is the real way to enjoy? The real enjoyment is in serving Krishna. Serving Krishna means giving pleasure to Krishna. And when you serve Krishna, then Krishna also reciprocates in such a wonderful way that you begin to realize, oh, it is so wonderful to serve Krishna. So one naturally becomes detached. Now this detachment is based in knowledge. One cannot enjoy material illusory prosperity if he desires to return home back to Godhead. One who has no information of the transcendental bliss in the association of the Lord foolishly desires to enjoy this temporary material happiness. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said that if someone sincerely wants to see the Lord and at the same time wants to enjoy the material world, he is considered to be a fool only. If one wants to enjoy the material nature and at the same time go back to the spiritual world, his condition is like he has his feet on two boats. By putting your 2 feet in 2 different boats, can you make any advancement? What will happen? You'll just, sooner or later, you'll fall in the river. And if you don't know how to swim, then you're in real trouble. So what should an intelligent person do? Intelligent person should put his 2 feet in the same boat. Now you have to decide which boat you're going to put your foot onto. One boat is stuck on the shore, and the other boat is moving to the other side. So which boat you are going to put your foot into? The boat that is, if you want to go across the river, then you have to put your both feet, or you have to be on the boat that is moving to the other shore, to the other side of the river. One who wants to remain here in the material world for material enjoyment has no business entering into the eternal kingdom of God. So as long as one maintains his material attachment, he cannot go. He has no business to enter into the kingdom of God. The Lord favors such a foolish devotee by snatching all that he may possess in the material world. So if one wants to make spiritual advancement and at the same time he has desire for material enjoyment, what does the Lord do? What does the Lord do to him? He snatch away, he take away all his material possession. And that is, by doing that, he bestows his mercy upon him. So if someday the Lord takes everything away from you, you consider it to be his great display of his great mercy. The best thing is not to remain attached to anything. Just become attached to Krishna. Then you'll be safe. But if you by any chance putting both of your feet on 2 different boats, and then the Lord pulls you onto the moving boat, then consider it to be his mercy. Don't cry. Oh, why did he take everything away from me? The Lord favors such a foolish devotee by snatching all that he may possess in the material world. If such a foolish devotee of the Lord tries to recoup his position, then the merciful Lord again snatches away all that he may have possessed. So what would be the intelligent thing to do? Brajendra Sutta? Okay, to remain involved in serving the Lord. Right? And Prabhupada is saying, then what happens? By such repeated failure in material prosperity, by such repeated endeavor, repeated failures in material prosperity, he becomes very unpopular with his family members and friends. Everybody thinks that he is useless. He is a total failure. He is good for nothing. And then they start to criticize him, abuse him, and in this way he becomes detached from his material attachment. That's another mercy of the Lord. In the material world, the family members and friends honor persons who are very successful in accumulating wealth by any means. The foolish devotee of the Lord is thus put into forcible penance by the grace of the Lord, and at the end the devotee becomes perfectly happy, being engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore, penance and devotional service of the Lord, either by voluntary submission or by being forced by the Lord, is necessary for attaining perfection. And thus such penance is the internal potency of the Lord. One cannot, however, be engaged in the penance of devotional service without being completely free from all sins. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, only a person who is completely free from all reactions of sins can engage himself in the worship of the Lord. Which is the verse? Gaganarayan? Teshang tantagatam papam. Very good. Te danda moho nirmukta bhajante man driham. They, te means they, danda moha, becoming free from duality of the material existence of happiness and pain, and moha, the unnecessary attachment to the material nature, becoming free from that, free from danda and moha, they become very drihabrata, very fixed in devotional service. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, only a person who is completely free from all reactions of sins can engage himself in the worship of the Lord. Brahmaji was sinless. What is how Narayana addressed Brahma as sinless? Yes. Anagha. Agha means sin. Aghasura. The sin personified, the demon who is sin personified. But anagha means no agha. They're free from agha or sin. So in order to become engaged in devotional service, one has to become sinless. Therefore, at the time of initiation, we take the vow of no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling. When one is free from these four activities, he becomes sinless. And then by being engaged and surrendering to Krishna, one becomes free from sinful reactions. All the sins that you have committed in the past, when you surrender to Krishna, it's all nullified. सब डिसमिस हो जाता है, बल्कि बाद में कभी और सिन नहीं करना चाहिए. पाप नहीं करना चाहिए. इसलिए no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex and no gambling, because these are the 4 legs of sin. Brahmaji was sinless, and therefore he faithfully discharged the advice of the Lord, tapa tapa, and the Lord, being satisfied with him, awarded him the desired result. Therefore only love and penance combined can please the Lord, and thus one is able to attain his complete mercy. He directs the sinless, and the sinless devotee attains the highest perfection of life. So this was yesterday's verse. And we are already, okay, we have some time. And today's verse is Srijami taposri vedam grasami tapasa punaha bibharmi tapasa vishvam birjang me dustaram tapaha. Dustaram tapaha. It's a nice verse, easy to remember, isn't it? Who remembered it? Ganganaran somewhat got it. Anyone else, without looking at the board? The purpose of repeating is to remember. You memorized it? Kartik? No? Now you're looking at the board. Okay, look at the board and say it. Bibharmi. Oh, yeah. Bibharmi tapasa vishvam. Then Virjan me. Very good. Ram Vijay, can you see the board? Okay, come and recite it. Can you read it? Grasami.
Tapasa
Bibharmi.
Tapasa Vizam Viryam Vintu Tapa.
Very good. Okay, Radhika, can you recite? Yamuna?
Srijami tapasa vedam rasami tapasa guna vivarme tapasa visham viryame yushiramika.
Very good. Radhika, you want to give it a try? Give it a try. Try it. Don't feel shy. Huh? You can't read. Or you're afraid to read. Okay. What is the meaning? I create this cosmos by such penance. Krishna creates the universe. He's saying that he creates this universe or the cosmos through penance. Grasami means grasami, withdraw or destroy. He creates by tapaha, he withdraws this, and before that He's saying that's the next line. I maintain it by the same energy and I withdraw it all by the same energy. Therefore, the potential power is penance only. So everything is happening by or through penance. So now, in the previous verse, what did Krishna point out? Penance. Penance is what? Penance is devotional service. So devotional service is penance. So whatever we do for the sake of devotional service is the real penance. And Prabhupada pointed out, for us, what is the penance? Austerity and penance to follow the four regulative principles. In this age, if you just follow the four regulative principles, you are a great tapasvi. You are performing great penance. And the result will be spiritual advancement. And we can look at it the other way around also. One is able to follow the four regulative principles only when he is engaged in devotional service. You ask a non-devotee to follow these four principles, it will be very, very difficult if they are already involved in these bad habits. Those who are meat eaters, it's impossible to give them meat eating. But when one becomes a devotee, then is it difficult to give up meat eating? Had it been difficult to give up meat eating? Or fish eating or egg eating? I think for the Bengalis the most difficult thing is to give up fish. Isn't it, Malini? But we see that when the Bengalis join ISKCON, then what happens? Shammohan? They give up eating fish very easily. Another thing that's difficult to give up nowadays is tea. I don't know about Madhya Pradesh, but in Bengal, everybody drinks tea. They begin their day with drinking tea. Actually, they can't go to the toilet if they don't drink tea. And so that is how attached they are to their tea. But when one becomes a devotee, can very easily give up tea. The devotees give up tea, coffee. Those who smoke cigarette, those who are habituated to smoking cigarettes, it's very difficult to give up smoking cigarette. But when one becomes a devotee, they try so many ways. They have some sort of medicated artificial cigarette. This doesn't light, they just hold it in their mouth and they get a taste as if they're smoking cigarettes. This is how, but still they can't give up. And what to speak of the hard addictions like heroin, cocaine. They go mad if they don't get it. Heroin addiction, heroin is actually the derivative of opium. Opium is a poison. And from opium they derive this heroin, like crystals of opium. And their blood, when they become habituated, their blood needs it. Without that they can't live. They go mad actually. If they don't get it, they become mad. But when one joins ISKCON, they give up heroin addiction. So this is how we can see how powerful Krishna consciousness is. This is actually the initial proof that one experiences. By becoming a devotee, they can give up all these addictions. And these are all addictions actually. Meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, gambling. And but for a devotee, it's so easy to give up. And more he makes advancement, the more disgusted he becomes to these activities. Like we become so sensitive, especially in the West. When you go, like even in the road, you get this smell of meat, cooking of meat. They don't even cook, they roast, they burn it. And it's so repulsive actually, that smell. But to a meat eater, oh, he thinks that's the most delicious thing in the world. So, devotional service makes one repulsed to, averse to these sinful activities. Initially, one may have to make an effort to give up. He has to force himself. He has to make an endeavor. And that is the austerity. That's the austerity. The body one wants, the tongue wants to eat meat or fish or some garbage. But his conscience directs him, no, don't do that. It's bad for you. It's bad for your spiritual progress. One wants to take intoxicants, but his conscience directs him, no, don't do that. Because this is going to hinder, obstruct your progress, spiritual progress. One wants to have sex, but his conscience directs him not to. One wants to gamble. So this is how the devotee's conscience, which is actually Krishna as a super soul from within, directs him, prevents him from doing that. Don't do that. And Krishna helps. The devotee prays to Krishna. That's why when a devotee feels weak, what should a devotee do? He should pray to Krishna. Krishna, please, you help me. I'm so helpless. And Krishna will help. And in this way one will remain fixed up in his devotional path, devotional platform. So in one hand, this following this tapaha or practicing this process of Krishna consciousness, following these four regulative principles, it helps us not to fall back into Maya. And chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra moves us forward. Both are necessary. Follow the regulative principles in order not to fall into Maya, and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra in order to make spiritual advancement. And that's why our process is chant Hare Krishna following the four regulative principles. If you do that, you're bound to make spiritual advancement. You'll never fail. Maya will come, allurements will come, but devotee with his Krishna consciousness will be able to overcome that allurement of Maya. And as he overcomes the allurement, he makes progress. Krishna in this way is guiding. Krishna in this way is instructing Brahma. And from Brahma, who is Brahmaji? Brahmaji is our Sampradaya Guru, Sampradaya Acharya, founder Acharya. Brahma is the founder Acharya of the Brahma Sampradaya. And through Brahma we learning the process. What should we do? Should we run after sense gratification, material enjoyment? Or should we stay away from sense gratification? Yes, we must stay away from sense gratification because sense gratification is illusory. What is illusory? What is the example of illusion? Illusion is, what is the definition of illusion? Radharani, you are about to say something. Yeah. Illusion is that appears to be, but is not. Now mirage appears to be water. And if you are thirsty, then what do you want? If you are very thirsty, then what do you want? You want water. And you think that there is water in the mirage. So if you run after the mirage, will you get water? What will you get? You'll get hot sand. Something that is completely opposite to water. You can't drink that. Can you drink hot sand? No. So that is what mirage is. That's what illusion is. It gives the impression that it is there, but actually it is not. So now let us look at it from that point of view. You are trying to enjoy, but that enjoyment, that the impression of enjoyment, that appearance of the object of enjoyment is actually not there. So the more you run after it, the more you suffer. As I mentioned, think about it deeply, about any kind of enjoyment that you wanted to have in this material nature. And as I gave the classic example of marriage, getting married. How many of you are married here? And how many of you agree with me? Okay. So it's everybody. So, because you see that what you actually wanted, you didn't get that. But of course, marriage has another objective. That is the responsibility of fulfilling certain responsibility in the material nature. And we must, a devotee doesn't get married in order to enjoy. A devotee gets married to fulfill certain responsibility. What is that responsibility? The responsibility is to procreate children. Because we need children, right? If no offspring comes, then the world will become empty. So that was Brahma's dilemma. Brahma was thinking, now how am I going to fill up this universe? So Brahma started to produce. And then Brahma's first 4 sons were the 4 Kumaras. And what did they say? We are not going to get involved in this business.
They joined Brahmacharya Ashram. By permission of Sangarayana Prabhu.
Actually, they did not take the permission of Brahma. And so Brahma was upset. Then Brahma produced 10 more children. And they were good boys, according to material calculation. They said, okay, Karishye bhajanam tava. We will do whatever you ask us to do. And Brahma said, procreate. Fill up this universe with progeny. So that is also important. That's why there is this custom of marriage. Marriage is not for enjoyment. Marriage is to fulfill a responsibility. There is need for population, progeny. There is need for that. There has to be children. Therefore, man and woman get together in order to not only produce children, but bring them up to become devotees of Krishna. Because when the children become devotees of Krishna, they become an asset to the society. They bring good fortune to this world. Prabhupada used to say, one devotee can purify the whole world. And we have seen Prabhupada had done that. One person had purified the whole world. So if there are many devotees, what will happen to the world? The world will become Vaikuntha. So that's why there is a need for getting married. But we see that intelligent class of people, advanced people, like before they got married, what did they do? They performed austerities to procreate proper children. The example is Prachetas. The father said, get married. They said, okay, then let's go and perform austerities to become prepared for married life. Also Kardama Muni performed great austerities. And the result is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead came and became his child, became his son. So in this way, householders must, they should not think, oh, I made a mistake. So now let us rectify the mistake. I made a mistake by being a householder, so now let me become a sannyasi. No, that is also not right. Because there is a need for getting married and producing children and bringing up the children to become devotees of Krishna. But if you can't make your children into devotees, then you are a failure in household life. Anyway, but if you become a devotee of Krishna, then you are successful. At least if you become a good devotee, even though you may not be successful in making your children into devotees. But we must strive very hard to make our children into devotees. And if we guide them properly, they will become devotees. So, actually in Krishna consciousness, everything is positive. Everything is positively employed in Krishna consciousness. Okay, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Gaur Premanande. Does anybody have any questions? Yes,
And in this verse, Prabhupada is saying that if one wants to sincerely devote and at the same time wants to enjoy this material world, is considered to be a fool also. So quite some time back you told me that the mind will attach itself to that which gives it pleasure and reject that which tries to discipline it. So from personal experience, though I'm following the four regulated principles, on simple food items, I find the mind is still attached just to that, even just for the sense perception of smell. The mind automatically, the mouth starts salivating and, without you consciously being attached to it, the body is going through the motions through the mind's attachment to it. I had that personal experience, which was quite a revelation to me. It was a shock to my system that if my mind is still attached to this unconsciously, at the time of death, what other attachments is my mind going to be attracted to? Because it's still attached to it, and after so many years of practicing spiritual life and chanting, how is it that my mind hasn't given up these attachments? That's my question, because it's such a dangerous, for me it was quite a shock to my system.
Yeah. Continue to practice the process sincerely. You see, all these attachments are not just a matter of one lifetime. It's a matter of millions of lifetimes, maybe zillions of lifetimes, right? And so it won't go away overnight. But if we can properly guide our consciousness, if we can become steady in our devotional service, then you see, mind will become controlled. Like, what is actually devotional service? Devotional service is attachment to Krishna. So these attachments to Krishna will help us overcome those material attachments for sense gratification. And even if we are not so successful, by nature's arrangement, it will actually happen. Krishna has made an arrangement. Say, for example, when you are young, you are attached to so many things. When you grew up, are you still attached to them? Then things that you are attached to now, after some time, you'll also grow out of them, grow out of those attachments. And eventually see what will happen. If we live to become ripe, old men and women, then the senses will become weak already. So that strong attachments due to strong senses will automatically reduce. Like what appears to be so tasty, sometimes we notice when we are sick, we lose all taste, like then the most delicious food appears to be so repulsive, right? So this is how, Krishna made the arrangements, right? We will naturally, by nature's arrangement, we will grow out of them. And then finally, we say we have many attachments. We may have many attachments. But if we can manage to develop the greatest attachment to Krishna, other attachments may be there, but if our main attachment, the deepest attachment is to Krishna, and if at the time of death, if we see Him standing in front of us, where will all attachments go? They automatically will become totally insignificant. So we have to understand that we are trying, but Krishna is there to help us. Okay, so let's carry on. We don't really have to be Superman to be a devotee. We don't have to become a great yogi to become a devotee and free and say, well, now I'm free from all attachments. No, it will naturally happen. So just our business is to practice the process with faith. Although we are totally incompetent, but Krishna's mercy is there, and that will qualify me. I do not know how to become free from the material bondage, but Krishna will come and release me from that bondage in due course of time. So with that faith we have to carry on. Yes.
मेरे मन में बहुत सारे विचार चल रहे थे। आज मैं उनको अभी मैंने जो यहाँ सुना है आपसे, उसके हिसाब से जो मेरा प्रोफेशन है, उसमें जब हम लोगों को मोटिवेट करते हैं तो उनको ये बोलते हैं कि दो प्रकार की डेथ होती है, एक फिजिकल और एक इकोनॉमिकल। फिजिकल में तो आदमी चला गया, इकोनॉमिकल में जो उसकी अर्निंग थी वो खत्म हो गई। उस अर्निंग के खत्म होने के बाद उसका जो परिवार है वो पूरा उसकी पढ़ाई, उसका रहना, खाना पीना सब डिस्टर्ब हो जाता है। तो उसको सेव करने के लिए आप इंश्योरेंस ले लीजिए। वो कन्विंस हो जाते थे, तो वो ऐसा ले लेते थे। जब कोई आदमी सुसाइड कर लेता है तो उसे नहीं पता लगता है कि उसके पीछे उसके परिवार का क्या हो रहा है, वो नहीं देखता। जब कोई आदमी जानबूझकर जैसे स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ में आया उसको समझ आ गया कि नहीं ये माया है, मुझे इसमें नहीं जाना है, फिर वो इमीडिएट सब कुछ स्टॉप करना चाहता है और वो कर भी देता है। पर उसके बाद बच्चों की जो नीड्स हैं, जो रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं, वो सामने खड़ी हुई है और वो डिमांड करते हैं, क्योंकि वो नेचुरल नीड्स हैं उनकी। तो अब मरने वाला व्यक्ति तो चला गया था, वो तो नहीं देख रहा था, पर जब इसने ऐसा किया तो इसको वो सारी चीजें दिख रही हैं। वो कैसे उनको समझा पाए, कैसे वो कर पाए, क्योंकि उनकी जरूरतें तो अपनी जगह बिल्कुल सही है। अब मैं अगर उधर वापस जाता हूँ, क्योंकि मैं नहीं चाहता कि मैं पैसा कमाने के लिए बाहर जाऊंगा। जब मैं पैसा कमाने के लिए बाहर जाता हूँ तो भौतिक जगत के लोग मेरे साथ जो बिहेव करते हैं, क्योंकि मेरा मन पूरी तरह यहाँ लगा हुआ है, वहां मेरा मन लगता ही नहीं। जब वहां मेरा मन नहीं लगता है तो वहां रिजल्ट भी नहीं आता है। रिजल्ट ना आने से फेलियर की श्रेणी में आते हैं। तो मन ये है कि मैं नहीं, बिल्कुल भी 1% भी वहां नहीं जाना चाहता हूँ, पर वो जो नीड्स क्रिएट हो गई है, वहां खड़ी हुई है, सबको जरूरतें हैं, इसके लिए मजबूरी में वहां जाना है। कई बार हमको बहुत मजबूरी में भेजा जाता है कि आप वहां जाइए, आप वहां जाइए, वहां जाइए, पर वहां मन तो लग ही नहीं रहा है। जब मन नहीं लग रहा है तो रिजल्ट भी नहीं है, 100% है, पूरा मन तो यहाँ पर है। ऐसे में उनको हम कैसे समझाएं कि उनकी जरूरतें,
उनको मतलब किसको? जो
फैमिली के जो मेंबर हैं, अब किसी को समझ आ
अपना तुम्हारा फैमिली
ऐसा हम
ब्रज किशोर यहाँ मैं कुछ
ऐसा सवाल मेरे मन में बहुत चलता है, क्योंकि जब पूरी तरह स्टॉप करना चाहते हैं, जब कुछ समझ आ गया।
ठीक है, मैं तुम और ब्रज किशोर से बात करूंगा, ठीक है? और मेरी तरफ से तो मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि देखो, जब कोई भगवान का शरण लेते हैं तो भगवान उनको देखभाल करते हैं। चैतन्य महाप्रभु ने श्रीवास ठाकुर को बोले थे, महाप्रभु जब सन्यास लेने के बाद आए थे बंगाल में, श्रीवास ठाकुर नवद्वीप नहीं रहा। महाप्रभु सन्यास लेने के बाद वो नवद्वीप से चले गए और जहां वो रहते थे वही जगह का नाम की ईश्वरपुरी ना, ईश्वरपुरी ये था काचरपाड़ा, चैतन्य का नाम था हाली शहर में आकर वहां रहते थे। तो चैतन्य महाप्रभु उनको मिला, देखा एकदम उदासी हो गए हैं श्रीवास ठाकुर में, कुछ नहीं करते थे। तो उन्होंने पूछा, श्रीवास तुम कुछ नहीं करते हो, तुम ऐसे हो गए तो तुम्हारा परिवार को देखभाल कौन करेगा? तो श्रीवास ठाकुर बोला, मुझे पता नहीं है, मैं सोचना भी नहीं चाहता हूँ, मेरा मन एकदम बेवफा हो गया है। तो महाप्रभु ने तब उनको बोला, श्रीवास, लक्ष्मी देवी को अगर भीख मांगना पड़ा, लक्ष्मी देवी भीख पात्र लेकर भीख मांग सकते हैं, बल्कि तुम्हारा घर में कोई अभाव नहीं होगा। हाँ, ये आश्वासन महाप्रभु ने भक्तों को दिए हैं, हाँ, कि भक्तों के लिए कोई अभाव कभी नहीं होगा। जो भगवान को भक्ति करते हैं उनको अभाव नहीं होगा, ये भरोसा भगवान दिए हैं। अच्छा, तो ये तो है। और मैं तो ये सोचता हूं कि जब मैं भगवान के प्रतिनिधि के रूप में हूं तो भगवान जो वादा करते हैं वो हमें पूरा करना होगा। तो इसलिए तुम लोग जब भक्ति करते हो और जब मेरे साथ हो तो मैं बोलूंगा तुमको सोचना नहीं होगा, ब्रज किशोरी, सोचना नहीं होगा। और ठीक है। और
यही इतना सोचते हैं, मैं तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं सोचती।
बल्कि इल्जाम तुम पर दे रहे हैं।
आपसे पहले भी निवेदन किया था, आपने मुझको वो अवसर दिया है, बड़ी कृपा है कि अभी तक क्या सब मुझसे कहते थे मैं घर में सबसे बड़ा था, तो अब आपने मुझे ये सोचने में, मेरे को कोई चिंता नहीं है, आप बड़े हैं, तो अब मुझे टेंशन नहीं होता है। पर जब कोई डिमांड कोई बात होती है, क्योंकि वो सब बहुत सारी चीज़ें ऐसी होती हैं जो जरूरी हैं, और फिर जब मैं जाता हूँ ऑफिस जाऊँगा जब मैं, तो वहाँ के लोग जो बिहेव करते हैं, जो चीज़ें वो मुझसे मांगते हैं, वहाँ पर सबसे बड़ा कौन है जो सबसे ज़्यादा अर्न करके ला रहा है। ठीक है, मैं चूंकि मैं इस तरफ नहीं हूँ, अर्निंग भी नहीं है, तो वहाँ पर जो फोर्थ क्लास भी है उसका भी बिहेव इस तरीके का होता है। अब मेरे को उधर जाने में डर लगता है।
तो देखो, मैं तुमको तब बताऊंगा कि पहले तुम्हारे साथ बात हुआ है, फिर जब तुम बोल रहे हो, तुम 3 साल और क्यों रहने का प्रबंध किए हो? क्योंकि पेंशन मिलेगा, है ना? इसलिए तुम चाहते हो कि तुम वहां पर युक्त रहोगे, है ना? तो मैं बोलूंगा वो पेंशन के बारे में भी मत सोचना, भगवान के भरोसा में छोड़ दो और उसको, वो नौकरी को जहन्नम में जाने दो।
वास्तव में बिल्कुल नहीं। जब मैं महीने में केवल
ठीक
एक
है,
दिन
तो
ऑफिस
जब
जा रहा हूँ,
मन नहीं चाहता वहां जाने के से फायदा क्या है? वो 3 साल की बात क्या होगा? 3 साल के बाद अगर वो कंपनी डूब जाएगा तो क्या होगा? हाँ, सोचो मत। और मैं परशुराम से भी बात कर रहा था कल या परसों। तो ठीक है, इस बारे में मत सोचो।
मतलब मेरा तात्पर्य यहाँ पर ये नहीं था, जब हम लोग प्रीचिंग करते हैं बहुत से लोगों से बातचीत करेंगे,
बहुत से लोग के बोलना कि देखो मैं इंश्योरेंस कंपनी से आ रहा हूँ, सबसे बढ़िया इंश्योरेंस कंपनी है कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस।
तो 1 लाख का इंश्योरेंस करती है।
हाँ, ये सारे हाँ, ये का इंश्योरेंस कर देंगे। देखो, ये जब ये भरोसा रखना, ये विश्वास रखना कि अगर हम भगवान को सेवा सही रूप से करते हैं तो भगवान हमको देखेंगे। और ये विश्वास भी रखना है कि अगर भगवान के साथ हेरफेर करेंगे तो भगवान इतना चक्कर में डाल देंगे कि ये दोनों विचार ही सही रखना है। भगवान के साथ जब हम ये करते हैं, भगवान के साथ अगर हम बिजनेस करेंगे, एकदम ऑनेस्ट बिजनेस होना चाहिए। हाँ? नहीं, मैं तुम्हारे बारे में नहीं, मैं सबके बारे में।
बिजनेस करना ही नहीं चाहता।
नहीं, बिजनेस का मतलब कि भगवान के शरण लेना, ये बिजनेस है, व्यवसायत्मिका बुद्धि।
और ज्यादा कुछ नहीं करना चाहता।
भगवान को शरण लेना ही सबसे बढ़िया बिजनेस है। हाँ? बिजनेस का मतलब क्या होता है? लेस इन्वेस्टमेंट, मोर प्रॉफिट, है ना? थोड़ा इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा और ज्यादा प्रॉफिट होगा, ये है बिजनेस। तो देखो, भगवान के साथ अगर हम संपर्क जोड़ते हैं तो थोड़ा कुछ हम भगवान के लिए करते हैं तो भगवान कितने बड़े ढंग से हमें वापस देते हैं, उसको इनाम देते हैं। तो बताओ, इससे बढ़कर क्या और हो सकता है? जो बुद्धिमान है वो भगवान के ही शरण लेंगे, क्योंकि ये ही सबसे बढ़िया काम है।
क्योंकि जो इनकी पोजीशन है मेरी पोजीशन लगभग एक जैसी है, लेकिन मैं ये ऐसा सोचता हूँ कि जो कर्म भगवान ने हमको दिया है उसको अगर अपन नहीं करेंगे तो अपयश होगा हमारा। तो इससे अच्छा यह है कि जो कर्म हमको भगवान ने दिया है, अगर उनको कर्म पहले से ही नहीं देते, पहले दिया हुआ है उसको अगर नहीं करेंगे तो अपयश में जाएंगे।
भगवान कौन से काम दिया है तुमको?
जैसे मेरे को काम दिया है, जो भी मैं बैंक का काम करता हूँ उसको मैं अच्छी से करूंगा और भगवान की भी शरण में रहूंगा, तो उसमें ज्यादा अच्छा रहेगा। धीरे धीरे
ज्यादा अच्छा नहीं, वो अच्छा है, बल्कि सबसे अच्छा है जो उन्होंने कर रहे हैं। हाँ, ये बैंक जो है, ये बैंक क्या भगवान का है? तो तुम जो नौकरी कर रहे हो किसका नौकरी कर रहे हो? भगवान का।
भगवान ने कर्म दिया है मेरे को, जैसे
भगवान ने कर्म दिया है। भगवान ने अगर बोला कि ये कर्म सही नहीं है तो तुम क्या बोलोगे?
वो अब उनकी कृपा से अपने आप विड्रा हो जाएंगे, लेकिन
अपने आप
नहीं उनके
अपने
जैसे
आप कुछ नहीं होता है।
जैसे
हाँ, खाना सामने रहने से अपने आप मुंह में नहीं आएगा। हाँ, हाथ से खाना लेके मुंह में डालना पड़ता है। जो तुम कह रहे हो ठीक है, अगर तुम्हारा वो विचार है सही है, लेकिन सबसे अच्छा ये नहीं। भगवान की शरण लेना ही सबसे अच्छा है। अब तुम भगवान ये जो नौकरी कर रहे हो, ये क्या भगवान का नौकरी कर रहे हो? कौन सी बैंक में हो तुम? स्टेट बैंक। तो ये तुम भगवान का नौकरी कर रहे हो या स्टेट बैंक का नौकरी कर रहे हो?
नहीं, कर्म जो
नहीं, हम मेरा सवाल कर रहा हूँ।
स्टेट बैंक
का नौकरी कर रहे हो। तो अगर स्टेट बैंक का नौकरी अच्छा है या भगवान का नौकरी, सीधा नौकरी अच्छा है?
भगवान का अच्छा है।
भगवान का अच्छा है। तो कहने का मतलब ये है कि जब ये विश्वास आता है कि हम अगर भगवान का नौकरी करेंगे तो वो नौकरी स्टेट बैंक की नौकरी से और बढ़िया है, हाँ? तब तुम स्टेट बैंक का नौकरी छोड़ के भगवान का नौकरी ले सकते हो। जब तक ये विश्वास पूरा नहीं होता है तो नौकरी मत छोड़ो। यहां कहने का मतलब है कि उन्होंने जो कर रहे हैं उनको पता चल गया है, उनको सही रूप से विश्वास आ गया है कि भगवान की नौकरी करना ही सबसे बड़ा काम है, सबसे बेहतर नौकरी है, और उन्होंने कर रहे हैं। बल्कि ये इनका थोड़ा सा पश्चाताप हो रहा है कि मैं तो ये नौकरी भी कर रहा हूं और साथ साथ भगवान का नौकरी भी, असल में तो भगवान का नौकरी कर रहा हूं बल्कि उनसे तनख्वाह ले रहा हूं। ये काम सही नहीं है, हाँ, क्योंकि उनके साथ मैं ऑनेस्ट डीलिंग नहीं कर रहा हूं। उनका नौकरी मैं नहीं कर रहा हूं, पर उनसे तनख्वाह ले रहा हूं। तो इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूं कि वो नौकरी को छोड़, पूरा तरह भगवान की नौकरी में आ जाओ और देखो भगवान कैसे देखते हैं, और उसके बाद हमें बताना। यही मैं कह रहा हूं। और तुम जो कह रहे हो ठीक है, तुम जो नौकरी कर रहे हो तुम सोच रहे हो कि भगवान मुझे ये काम दिया है, ये काम मुझे सही रूप से करना चाहिए, और ये काम तुम सही रूप से कर रहे हो, ये भी अच्छा है।
अब जब से ये मैंने सोचा है कि भगवान ने मेरे को दिया है, उससे मेरे काम के जो हुआ है उसमें बहुत गुना मतलब तरक्की हुई है।
अच्छा, तो मैं ये भविष्यवाणी करूंगा कि तुम ऐसे करते रहो और एक दिन तुम वो काम से इस्तीफा देके तुम भगवान का नौकरी ले। ये देखो, ये भक्ति जो है ये सरल रूप से, स्वाभाविक रूप से आगे बढ़ने का तरीका है। जब हम 5 साल के हैं तो 5 साल के जैसे बच्चे जैसे हम आचरण करेंगे। जब 25 साल हो जाते हैं तब तो 5 साल के जैसे नहीं करते हैं, है ना। और वैसे जब 50 साल के बन जाते हैं तो 25 साल के आचरण नहीं करते हैं। तो वैसे भक्ति मार्ग में जैसे हम आगे बढ़ते रहेंगे उसके मुताबिक हमारा काम भी होता रहेगा, हमारा शरणागति या भगवान की शरण आएंगे। ओके, आरती, डू यू हैव अ क्वेश्चन? आरती, यू हैव ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच। गौर प्रेमानंदे।